welcome everyone. SSBills Talk Week 2. The Bills are 2-0. A nice, consistent win, bounce back win for the defense. Josh broke his nose and still was Josh. So gotta be happy after 2 weeks in the for the Bills. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, I have a few complaints, which is rare.
That is rare for us. Yes, rare for us indeed. But the Bills 2-0. I think there was a little bit of concern about the defense against what Breece Hall and Justin Fields, and I think that's where you got to start is the defense rebounding in a big way. They held them to essentially 100 yards before garbage time.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch Trubisky in one play threw more passing yards than Justin Fields did in 3+ quarters.
Yeah.
One huge rush aside, they didn't allow anything. So just speak on that. The defense, after like an atrocious week 1, rebounding in a big way and making NFL offense look more collegiate than anything else.
Yeah, I heard Colin Cowherd say something that I actually really agree with. When Sean McDermott is tasked with taking away that thing, like if you're a one-dimensional team, he's really good at just focusing in and taking away that one thing. And unfortunately for the Jets, they are very much a one-dimensional team. They are a running football team, and whatever facade of being able to pass Justin Fields put up against the Steelers, that was very quickly torn down. I mean, McDermott dared him to pass, and outside of one decent pass play to Garrett Wilson, that was essentially it. So yes, no, I was very glad that even though we knew that they wanted to run the ball, they knew that we just got torched by Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson. With their Lamar light and Derrick Henry light, they couldn't do anything. And so yes, I was very glad to see that the defense, they seemed to respond, to McDermott's challenge to shut down this team that we should. So yeah, I thought it was a really good performance.
I think what makes it more impressive is there was no Ed Oliver, there was no Taron Johnson, Trey White coming back after missing the first week from injury.
Mm-hmm.
So those 3 things right there would have been a perfect excuse, man. We just had an emotional game. It would have been easy to be like, oh, just a letdown type game.
Sure.
And you heard them talk about it during the broadcast of like that was kind of a concern of like, are we going to be coming in flat on like the soda you're drinking? That isn't what happened. And they came out like the team that needed to show and do something. I think Sanders and Walker had pretty good games at defensive tackle. I think they saw their opportunity. Cam Lewis, I don't recall doing anything great, so maybe that means he did well. I do remember him making Fields bounce out, which didn't allow him to get a first down. So I do remember that, but it may be one of those cases like, hey, just like kind of the safeties, they didn't really do much because they didn't have to.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that makes the defensive performance even better. Was 2 main, like Ed was the best defensive player for the Bills last week, and he was out. Taron Johnson is a key to that defense. He was out, and they still did what they did. And going off that, Joey Bosa, at least through 2 weeks, has been the Joey Bosa of old, just making plays in the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he's had a couple mental breakdowns, but thinking about what they had in Von Miller the last few years, if this continues, is a huge boon to the defense.
Yeah, I agree 100%. And, you mentioned a mental lapse. Sure. Like he knows he's got to keep contained, but ultimately, right, a guy like Lamar Jackson, he's going to make even the best of them look silly from time to time. So I think outside of, one scramble last week 2 weeks ago against the Ravens, and then Fields, I think, was able to get out of, he was backed up 10, 15 yards and was able to go and score through and get a first down. Like those 2 plays aside, I think Bosa's been, as you said, he's he's been awesome. It's been a breath of fresh air to see him consistently get pressure, consistently win, and I'm hoping it starts to travel along that defensive line where Greg, we really haven't heard his name much this year, and maybe to what you were saying, maybe that's a good thing. He's doing his job and things are flowing towards Bosa. But I'm hoping that as the season it goes on, it's a collective unit where teams can't just focus on Joey. They can't focus on Ed. They can't focus on Greg. They have to do one-on-one matchups because, yeah, we might not have a superstar monster like Myles Garrett out there, but we have a bunch of elite high-end guys that can win their individual matchups.
Yep. And you mentioned breath of fresh air. Like, I've always wondered, like, is like a change of scenery really make a big change? And I think it has for Bosa.
Mm-hmm.
You've heard him and other people talk about how, like, the Bills, what they have in the locker room isn't everywhere in the NFL. And I think that can't be undersold. Of like, once players get to Buffalo, there's just something about that camaraderie, that locker room. And maybe it has something to do with, like, there's not really much to do in Buffalo.
Right.
Like, they hang out with each other because, like, hey, but good for us if that's a benefit. And Bosa joking about, like, Josh's broken nose, and like they were joking about, like, he's another Bosa. Josh said he's a Bosa brother with how his nose looks now. So I mean, that type of stuff, I think, especially in the case of Bosa, who's been in the league 10 years, that's kind of what they need, is that little shot in the armor of, like, hey, this is football's fun again.
Mm-hmm.
And you got, like, it's a game first and foremost. For most people, it's just a game. Yes,
Right.
it's their career, but I think bringing that joy back can't be undersold, and you're seeing that there.
Yep. Yeah. And to move, I guess, yeah, no, I sorry, I agree 100% with what you said. I mean, Joey Bosa isn't a guy that historically, I would have said, oh yeah, he's a jokey kind of guy. He's overly jovial. He's to me, whenever he was with the Chargers, he looked very business, very serious. And from what we've seen so far in Buffalo, it sort of is the opposite of that. We're getting the best product out of him, and he seems to be having fun while he's doing it.
And before we move to the offensive side, just a couple things I still have a little concern about of the defense. Through 2 weeks, I really don't feel like the second cornerback has been challenged. We don't know what we got yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's and then the safeties weren't challenged this week at all. So although Miami, I think we're going to handle Miami easily, I am interested to see, because they're going to be the best passing offense we've played the first few weeks,
Right.
if they're on at all. And Miami's lucky they're playing Buffalo in September. They don't have to deal with the cold and weather. So to me, that's going to be the most interesting thing heading into the Dolphins game is Trey White or whoever starts there going to be challenged, and are the safeties going to be challenged and be up for the task?
Yeah.
So that's the concern.
Yeah, I thought it was. So you had mentioned that Trey really wasn't challenged this week, and frankly, because he missed a bunch of time, he didn't play last week. I thought, honestly, I see that as a benefit, right, for him to get in there, get some real game reps, and not be overly worried that he's going to have to be on his A game, which will allow. And granted, I don't think McDermott has historically made the best corner follow the best receiver. I just don't think he does that. And so there's going to be times where he's going to be matched up against Waddle or matched up against Hill or that Washington guy. He's looked good. And so whoever he's matched up with, that receiver is going to have some skill. So I'm glad Trey could get out there, get some reps, knock off any whatever, either physical or a mental rust, and just have more confidence too. So for like Trey, I don't think it has to do with like confidence in his abilities. I think it's more confidence in his body, and that can his body do what he needs it to do when he needs it to do it. And so he got out of last week healthy. He had a decent game, although as you said he wasn't challenged. But I think that'll be a benefit going into Thursday.
No, that's very true. And talking about body, while we're on it, Milano and Oliver were both did not practice today. So
Did Taryn?
he was limited again.
Okay.
So I'm going to guess that they're not going to play Taryn.
Right.
They're not going to have Milano. They're not going to have Ed. Which again, like they all, especially the Dolphins just put another guard on IR. I think it'd be a great chance for Walker or Sanders to have a kind of their breakout game.
Sure.
But Miami doesn't worry. We own Miami. But moving on to offense, week one was a Josh Allen heroic. I'm the Superman. I'm the best player in the league game. This was, I think, a James Cook. This is why you paid me game.
Mm-hmm.
I know we joked about about him and what he does, but I think it was very clear in the game if just how different he is than the other running backs we have. He is so smooth. Like he's able to make moves and jump cuts and inside the tackle. It's not like he's doing this out in space. He's doing this with bodies around him. He makes something on and just he's so quick. It just yes, I'm glad we have Ray Davis and Ty Johnson, but to me, James Cook should be playing even more than he is, and he showed why Sunday against the Jets.
Yeah, I mean, I won't argue with you there. He definitely is much better than our other two running backs. I mean, especially in that 44-yard run. I think there's only a handful of guys that could have, done it the way that he did to, get outside and score. And those guys that can do it, it's not Ty Johnson or Ray Davis. So, no, I thought it was a really good game for him. The one thing that I'll say is, and the thing that still kind of worries me is that, and I get that Jets have a pretty good defense, but we still in the passing game, it's so flat and it's the exact same thing. It truly feels to me that Joe Brady will not take the reins off of Josh unless he has to. He will keep that man locked up and run short routes, short passes, screens, the flipping screens and design quarterback runs. Okay. He will continue to do that game in and game out until we have to do something else. And that is frankly what worries me, that we're going to get into one of these games for which, it could even be this Thursday, where the defense doesn't start hot. And now all of a sudden we find ourselves down 14. And they're like, all right, Josh, we'll go and dig us out of this hole.
Yep.
It just, yes, I'm glad to see that, we win with the passing game in week one. We win with the run game in week two. We are a multi-dimensional football team. That is good. However, the start of both games in offense was very similar. We cannot pass. We can't complete things. We're doing these stupid screens. And it's just that's through 2 weeks has been a consistent pattern that makes me a little nervous moving forward.
That and tight ends who can't catch the ball.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
They're both looking for flags when the ball hits them in the hand with nobody hitting their arm.
Oh my god, yeah. No, you're absolutely right.
So the screens are terrible. We've said that for years. We can't run a screen. We can't defend a screen.
Mm-mm.
And it's so frustrating because every other team in the league can do it. I don't understand if it's a timing thing. They just can't get it down. And when you look at James Cook with Ty John, Shakir, we should be a pretty decent screen team.
Yeah.
And they just can't do it. And like you said, stop doing it. It doesn't. And then they do it to the wrong people also.
Yeah. Keon Coleman or Dawson Knox or.
Yeah, they're not bubble screen, quick screen type people.
Yeah,
do it to Elijah Moore or Shavers or let him get out something like that.
Yes.
But yes, and again, Josh and James Cook, I think too, they hide a lot of these blemishes that Brady has. And we've said that for going on 2 years now. Yes, he's done better with the running game than Dorsey did. I no problem admitting that. The running game is eons better than it was.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, the passing game has regressed. And it's the talent of Josh and what he's able to do of why he still puts up really good numbers.
Right.
Think of what he does outside of the pocket, outside of structure. And then, like you said, when they were forced to do it against the Ravens, it worked.
Yeah. No, I, so I was like thinking about this on my driving to work today. It's like, you know what? I would love to blow out the Dolphins. They fire McDaniels. We hire him as like a senior offensive assistant. And in the offseason, Joe Brady gets a job somewhere else.
Mhm.
McDaniels gets promoted to OC. That to me would be the, because like McDaniels has made something out of just having Tua, right?
Yeah,
Imagine if he had Josh Allen to work with.
yeah. McDaniel's offense with Josh and what they are able to. Oh, it's an, and he would get receivers open. He would run things downfield.
Yeah. And
So
I
yeah,
think we complained about it last year, but like we don't do enough motion.
no, there's nothing. And what it is, Elijah Moore. Like so far, it's like all right, Elijah Moore's getting his hand off because he's in motion.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, like again, the comeback win and then this win against a bad Jets team. It's easy to just look at the wins, but the Bills have higher goals and more in mind than this. So I would imagine they're asking these questions. If we're doing it, they are. I
Yeah,
would hope beyond hope.
sure.
But for a fan, don't get all caught up and just like look to see what's happening. Like this is week 3 coming up. We should start to progress. Like we should see more in Palm. Like what has Shakir done this year? Like how is he invisible
Yeah.
after what he's done? Like I don't know. Like our team's keying on him. We're like, all right, make another wide receiver beat us. We're not going to let Shakir do it, which would make
And
sense.
yeah, but one, this is the exact same thing that we said last year about Kincaid, but Kincaid also isn't absent. And two, we brought in dudes, Palmer, whose specialty was getting open. Okay, uh, Coleman was the talk of the entire camp, and outside of the end of the Baltimore game, when Josh or when things were opened up, Coleman didn't do really jack this past week. And so it's either the Jets defense is that good, is that stifling, or Brady is only average at best.
I think we'll see this week
Yeah.
because we talked about last week how no matter who the Jets are, like we've always struggled with them.
Mhm.
Even before Brady, before Dorsey, just something about the Jets defense just has given. Like I mean, it's a divisional team. Like we just dominate Miami no matter who we have. Like the Jets defense just always plays Josh well. So this is the week. Like this is the week where like Josh is dominated. Do we open it up or is it still going to be a game? And then that's when I would really start to worry
Mhm.
because Miami cornerbacks are not good. Their defense is not good. Drake may look good on Sunday, and they're going to be on the road.
But the one thing that we have, I mean, I guess I'll wait until you get to it.
But the offensive line,
The offensive line.
yeah, they did not play well. And I've seen a few clips of like WGR people like, "Oh, the offensive line." Like, did you watch the same game I did? Like, the offensive line is worrisome. And the Dolphins, if they have one strength on defense, it's along the front 7.
Sure is.
They have a really good front. Like after watching the Jets, like I'm a little bit worried about Chop Robinson and Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb and that
Mhm.
tackle from Michigan getting into Josh's face. I'm a little bit worried.
Yes, that to me is the equalizer. If our guys cannot, if they cannot give Josh time to throw, it's going to be a long day.
Yep.
And yeah, I just because I felt it last year when everyone was like propping up our offensive line. They only gave up 4 sacks or 6 sacks, whatever it was. And it's just like, you and I watched almost every minute of every game, and it comes down to it's like, well, the offensive line's okay, but Josh is the reason why, if it wasn't, if you throw pretty much any other quarterback back there and they have 20 sacks, okay, but Josh escapes most often of the time. And so that's why, or he's smart enough to just, be able to like get a guy off and just throw it away.
Yeah.
So it doesn't count as a sack. And so I don't know, this line, it really does, it worries me. Um, I'm hoping they gel or whatever the heck you want it, but it's the same starters as from last year. But
And when I watched the Texans Bucks game last night, I was thinking, because we played both those teams. I'm like, man, these defensive lines are gonna get through us like nothing, too. And that's what happened when the Bills played the Texans last year. Like, the offensive line was destroyed, and Josh got wrecked that whole game.
yeah.
So yeah, like you said, like everyone looks at the score, like, oh, look at their points, look at the, just like Joe Brady. Oh, look at how good his offense is. Josh masked a lot of warts on this team.
Yes.
If you let's just say you throw in like an average quarterback. I don't know who's an average quarterback. Brock Purdy. You throw Brock Purdy behind there, they're not doing stuff.
No.
Throw Tua back there. He's hurt 5 plays in.
Yeah. I almost wish that football had a stat like baseball, or that they had a WAR.
Yeah,
I bet Josh's WAR would be 6 or 8.
he's got to be the best WAR in the league.
Yeah,
but yeah, we kind of went off there. But yeah, it needs to be said at 2-0. It's easy to look past. They're probably going to win 3-0. But what are they going to do against the really good teams? So, speaking of that, kicking. Matt Prater had another really good game, 50-plus yarder made. Bass is on IR. I've seen it a few places. If he continues playing like he is there a legitimate kicker controversy in Buffalo?
No. I would say yes if Prater wasn't 41 years old.
But hold on, before you move on, they put him on IR, so they have the ability to just play it for the year, saying, "Oh, he's hurt." So that's what I mean. Like, would you keep him on there where we don't get rid of him, but Prater plays a year out?
Oh, okay, sorry. If we're talking about just this year, all right. Okay,
yeah.
So then I will say maybe because of one thing. We have not seen Prater kick in the elements.
Mm-hmm.
We have not seen him kick when it's really windy or the snow, and that's to me is where Bass's leg really can cut through those elements. And so, yes, if Prater is out there for a really windy game and he knocks in a couple of deep field goals, then you know what? Yeah, maybe leave Bass there. But until then, it's tough because one, I think his teammates love him. The fans love Bass for the most part, and at least he's shown that he can kick in the playoffs, in the crunch time, in the weather, and that's when we need him the most. So until I see Prater kick into the weather, I'm going to say no.
Yeah, that was exactly my thoughts too. Is right now it's nice weather, and then next year won't matter as much because the Bills Stadium kind of mitigates the whole wind thing. But like we said, this year. And I just think of the Ravens playoff game last year where Bass was lights out in really tough conditions.
Yeah.
And we've said numerous times, after that 61-yarder, he kind of was the old Bass.
Got my swagger back.
He got his swag back. So moving on to previewing next week, we kind of talk about it already. But let's just say, take the opposite side here. If Miami is going to win, it will be because what?
So we've already talked about the defensive line, and so or their front seven. If they're going to win, it's going to be because of Achane. We had trouble with him at times. I mean, he's got a lot of speed. Tua gets the ball out really quick. They do run a really have a really good screen game. Again, as you already mentioned, something that we really struggle with. So I think Achane is going to be the X factor on offense to really challenge our defense because, frankly, we don't have enough speed out there to catch him. So if he gets a seam, he's gone. And so I think if we can corral him and force Tua to sit back, through 2 weeks, that's proven to be the winning strategy for teams.
Yeah. And first, it is insane how kind of slow our defense is.
Yes.
I listened to Cowherd's hierarchy this week. Even he brought up how slow the secondary is.
Mm-hmm.
Like as fast as the NFL is now, it's crazy to think of how slow most of our defense is. But anyway, like you said, Miami's best offense last year against us was Achan, and he is so if he gets any sort of opening, we cannot catch him.
Nope.
So yeah, I agree with you. Like if the Dolphins win, it's because of what Achan did. But it also, I think, can the defensive line keep performing? If Tua has 4 to 5 seconds, he's going to find open people because they're too fast to cover for that long. So this needs to be Bosa continuing what he's doing. Greg needs to stop just being a run defender and get some sacks. It'd be nice to see Daquan do something up the middle, but TJ Sanders and Walker, this is your chance. They got a weak interior offensive line. And with Tua, get that pressure. That's why Ed was always so good against Miami. He gets that pressure on Tua up the middle. So aside from Achane, it's going to be that. Can the defensive line keep playing as well as they did last week? If they don't, and that'll go hand in hand with, I guess, Achane, right? If they're not doing anything, Achane's going to have space to run plus get screen and dump down passes.
Yeah.
So really that. But I don't think we lose. I think we again win fairly easily. What's your prediction?
Well, I guess before I give you that, I'll say everything sort of ties together, but it does come down to if the defensive line just has an average game and there's pressure put on our secondary, I think we're in trouble. I think, I don't trust our safeties whatsoever. And there's going to be at least a couple times where there's a blown coverage or someone's running 10 yards open. And if they're really deep, okay, to his arm can't get there. But if it's only 30-ish yards, I just worry that our safeties are going to miss a tackle. They're going to do something to just at least keep it competitive. But that being said, it just comes down to, as most games do, in the trenches. Can our offensive line block their pass rushers, and can we make Tua uncomfortable? So, what is my prediction? Yes, I do very, very much think that we win. I don't know if Josh will, be able to go and take off most of the fourth quarter like he did last week. I do think that they have they're still a decent team. They're not the worst team in the NFL. They're, a bottom half team, but they're probably number 17. So I think we win by probably 14, maybe 17 points. But it'll be one of those things for which they'll keep it close in the first quarter. Maybe by halftime, we're only up 7 or 3, which I feel like that's pretty consistent. But what then tends to happen is in the second half, they just get overwhelmed and we win.
And the Bills are going to get Miami's best shot here.
Sure.
Miami's we can't go 0-3. We can't be 0-2 in division, 0-3 in conference. So this, it's hard. It's tough to say, but kind of their season is here. They can't go 0-3.
Mm-hmm.
Especially with everything that's going on in that locker room. It's just going to get lost.
Yeah.
So the Bills are going to get their best shot. I think that means you're going to see some maybe trickery, some things they haven't seen before. But I think McDermott will have them ready. And Josh just, even in the 2 games he's lost against Miami, has played really well. So I think he'll kind of bounce back after a no touchdown game and put up 4 or 5 tutties. He has the visor now to protect his nose.
I forget who I was listening talk. It was a defender who was a commentator. Maybe it was one of the twins.
McCourty.
Yeah, but anyways, they're essentially saying that because I think Miami had a players only meeting after week 1 or something, and he said he's if y'all are having a players only meeting at this point, he's book your tickets to Cancun because the season is already over.
Yeah, that's not far from the truth. Yeah. So 2-0, playing 2 nights against Miami Dolphins. Chance to go 3-0, then have a 10-day break before they face the Saints, who should be another fairly easy win.
Mm-hmm.
But still lots to question, lots to think about as a Bills fan. And
Yep.
Hopefully things happen to a point where Bean makes a move before the trade deadline.
Yes. No, I will definitely be keyed into watching how the offensive line handles their pass rush, because I watched that Falcons Vikings game the other night, and JJ McCarthy aside, and he did not have a very good game, but his offensive line / the Falcons defense did not let him have a good game.
Mm-hmm.
He was harassed the entire game. They were relentless. And I just thought of that. I'm like, this is a game that we should win, that we could very well lose. Because Penix, Penix, depending on the day, I think he's a decent passer. Bijan is a heck of a running back. And I was like, man, if they control the clock and they harass Josh, this is a losable game.
Yeah. I mean, it's the NFL. Like, the Bills are a lot of teams' Super Bowl, so they're going to get every team. Is like, just like when we beat the Packers like 10, 12 years ago.
Oh, I remember Ainsley's brother. It was his 25th birthday.
Yeah. So I mean, like, you never, like, that's the beauty in the NFL. Like, it's a one game. This team has sucked, but hey, they're getting up for this Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So the Bills have, to the Bills' credit, they generally don't lose games. They lose really bad to decent teams sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But generally, they don't pull like what the Raiders did last year, losing the Ravens losing to the Raiders week 2. They're not the Bengals losing to the Patriots week 1. That is one thing I'll give McDermott credit for, is like, we don't lose to bad teams. Oftentimes, we destroy them.
We don't always.
That's what I said. Most of the time.
Week 1 when Aaron Rodgers goes down and we lose to Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
The Jets, though, as you said, the
Jets, and that was their defense. But
yeah,
that's my only, like, I complain about McDermott often, but I will give him credit that at least we don't lose a lot of these games like that we should win.
Sure.
But that's it for SSBills Talk. You saw a little bit of a different title on our YouTube channel. I figured out that titling it about Buffalo Bills gives a better chance of getting found. So we're still the same show, just titled differently, in hopes that more people find us. For Dr. Dung, I am Lawrence Foster, closing out for week 2. Go Bills.
We'll see you next
week.